Welcome to the studios of Murray Electric. My name is Keith Travis, a member of the Murray-Calloway County Endowment for Healthcare staff and part of Murray-Calloway County Hospital. We are here to introduce, and my guest to introduce, the excerpts from a very special play dealing with hospice. And November being National Hospice Month, we thought this was a great opportunity to introduce the play, to share with you some thoughts about hospice and why hospice is such an important part of our community. And my guest with me in the studio is Constance Alexander. And Constance, welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
You are the author and producer of the program, or the play called The Way Home.
Yeah, it's a piece that's really close to my heart, and hospice is close to my heart too, so it's nice that I've been able to write something that would bring those two things together.
We're sitting here talking about it in November of 2013, but really your involvement with it stretches back many years prior to that. When did you actually write this piece, and what motivated you to do so?
Well, The Way Home evolved over a period of years. I was an independent producer of a documentary radio series for WKMS-FM, our National Public Radio affiliate, and that project was on end-of-life issues. And as a result of doing that, I met two different women from two different parts of our region who were both fighting breast cancer, and they allowed me to interview them on an ongoing basis. And they were amazing women. They both were hospice patients at the end of their own lives, but they allowed me to talk to them throughout the whole process. So they inspired me to write The Way Home, which is a piece that tells their stories.
It's so interesting. I've seen the production a couple times now, and each time I come away moved by the accuracy, the emotion, the account that you constructed. And it's so interesting because it's although it's 13 years disposed from today, it talks about the insurance issues, the questions that we face today. And I thought how unique that our country is focused on accountable care, health care reform, all the issues. And yet, as you look back, you really chronicled the impact that has on some individuals.
Yeah, I think that the certainly end-of-life issues impact all of us, and it's an issue that people didn't talk about very much in the past. I think we're becoming more attuned to talking about it because our aging population and aging baby boomers. So the issues are really timeless. People have courage, people have dignity, people have hope throughout their fight in any illness, and I think really the message of The Way Home is hope.
What our viewers is going to see today is an excerpt, not the entire production. Kind of give them a flavor for which patient and how this was staged.
Okay. The piece was written originally, I call it a spoken opera, which kind of scares people when you mention the word opera. But it's a play written in poetic form, and there are two main characters. Theresa is a woman who was a breast cancer survivor at 39 and then had ovarian cancer, was diagnosed with ovarian cancer when she was 50. And because she'd been a breast cancer survivor, she couldn't afford health insurance. So her fight with ovarian cancer was very complicated because of her lack of money. The other character, whose name is Pat, was an older woman who was on Medicare who was fighting stage 4 breast cancer. And the stories of the two women had become intertwined. The excerpt from The Way Home that we taped for this presentation features just the one character whose name is Theresa, and it tells little vignettes of her story.
My compliments again. As I said, I've never watched the production, that I'm not moved by it. But you have a cast of readers. Why don't you share with our viewers a little bit about those ladies that have agreed to be part of this production?
Yeah, the other part of the cast that I didn't mention, this is where the opera or musical connection comes in. There is a chorus, there is a group of voices, usually of women, who fill in different details of what is going on in the script. And we had 6 women in the cast for The Way Home when we videotaped the excerpts. And 4 of them are breast cancer survivors. So they are people who were intimately acquainted with the battle for breast cancer. The fifth person works with hospice at Murray-Calloway County Hospital, and the sixth person also works for Murray-Calloway County Hospital, and of course has loved ones who have fought cancer. So the entire cast, they are not professional performers, and I wrote The Way Home so that it is easily produced and performed by people of any age, whether or not they have professional acting experience or not.
Well, as a layman rendering opinion about the taping, although they're not professionals, the emotion and the personal involvement in the play and their production of this excerpt was outstanding.
I think that's what carries the play, and that I wrote the play so that it could be performed by any age of actors and by professionals or non-professionals. It can be performed in almost any setting, and it has been performed all over the country. I don't accept any royalties for The Way Home because what I want to happen is, first of all, for the voices of the women who are represented in the play, for those voices to continue to be heard. And the second purpose is for money to be raised for causes like hospice. So it is a great thing for The Way Home to be produced in our region to support the establishment of a residential hospice house in Murray.
Well, Constance, we can't say enough for our appreciation for what you've done, the impact that you have had on hospice, and also the residential hospice house here in Murray. That is the reason we're showing this production. As you may well know, we're about $3.4 million into the campaign of a $3.5 million campaign to build the first residential freestanding hospice house in Western Kentucky. It will be named the Anna Mae Owen Residential Hospice House, and it will be open to all those in our region, a 6-bed facility, who have need. And we think it's a great project of service and of love and compassion. And Constance, you've done a yeoman's job in making it into a reality. If you would like more information, either about the play, to contact hospice program, or anything that we can help you with, 762-1908 or 762-1800, or our cell phone is 270-227-0253. Or you can log on to the hospital website at www.murrayhospital.org. Click on the endowment and you can see more about the project or easy ways to donate online. Again, we hope that you will enjoy this production. Our special thanks again to our friends at Murray Electric for making it a reality, and also to Lisa Cope and the staff at Playhouse in the Park. We were recipients of their generous use of their facilities, their stage and lighting to make this taping. And a final thank you to all the cast who lent their time to make a statement for hospice and the reason it's so important. Again, may you enjoy it and may God bless you.
I'd like to just add something about hospice and the services and comfort that hospice provides to families and to patients at the end of life. We all need to find our way home at the end of our lives, and the hospice house at Murray-Calloway County Hospital is going to do that. So it's a cause that really touches everyone, and I hope that the performance touches you enough to become a contributor to the cause. Thank you.
Thank you, Constance. And again, our thanks to Murray Electric for making this a reality.
The Way Home tells the story of two women who are fighting cancer. The excerpts we are reading today focuses on one of the women, Theresa Flowers, who lived in a rented trailer in Trigg County, Kentucky. Because Theresa was a breast cancer survivor, she could not afford health insurance. When she was stricken with ovarian cancer, she faced many challenges, including huge medical bills. She agreed to tell her story through a series of newspaper and radio interviews. The first excerpt features Theresa and a reporter on their first meeting at Theresa's trailer, along with a chorus that adds description and commentary throughout the scene.
Turn right after the lake. Follow that road.
Past junk cars, rusted out school buses, a quarry, the sign for an old church that burned down.
When you get to the creek, turn left. You're there when you get to the mailbox with flowers on it, right here.
Let's see, tape recorder, batteries, notebook, pen, not that one. I've got to get a better notebook. Not today.
I've been listening for you for the car.
Your directions were great. Didn't get lost once, but I never actually saw the quarry.
She stands on the porch of her trailer, hugs herself against the chill. The scarf wrapped around her head is splashed with purple, fuchsia, and rivers of green. Her hands flutter to straighten the scarf, to check the swell of its silken knot and the tucked-in tails.
I washed my hair today and a lot of it fell out. When I came outside to dry my head off, the rest of it went.
The autumn colors have faded to rust. The sedge grass is bleached blonde.
The leaves are falling and my hair's falling out, so I thought, well, that's okay. In the spring, the leaves will all come back and so will my hair. It's kind of like that. Life's like that sometimes. Come on in.
Afternoon sun slants through the lace curtains. On the kitchen table, a bowl of plums, sleek purple orbs, smooth as gigolos. The cloth, handmade, is from Budapest, embroidered with blue and white flowers.
My favorite color, blue. That smells so good.
I made tea and baked muffins. The smell of the muffins reminds me that I want my mother, not my real mother, but the mother I wished I had, who could keep me safe and read me stories until I fall asleep. I can feel her hand, gentle and cool, on my forehead, checking for fever.
Theresa is well into treatment for ovarian cancer, and she describes how she passes the time during chemotherapy.
You wait till they call your name at the Four Rivers Cancer Center.
The chairs are lined up like a firing squad, stiff, gray plastic. A Coke machine hums its single note until someone actually buys one.
1,
2,
3.
4 quarters, and then the thud of the can dropping. It could be a gunshot the way we all jump.
So what's it like, chemotherapy?
You have to take steroids and Tagamet before. It makes your bones hurt, but they say it's good for you. When they call you, it's time to go into the room. There's a whole bunch of people together, hooked up to tubes.
A group? You're not alone? Do you read or take notes? What?
We sit in a circle like Girl Scouts. We talk a lot because of the steroids we take the night before. Only thing I can read during chemo is Louis L'Amour. I love the cheap hotels, the gunfights, and new marshal comes to town to kick butt.
Utah Blaine, El Paso. I come to rout this town of the varmint that's stealing horses and robbing banks. It ain't right, losing 3 marshals in 3 months. I stopped cattle rustling up north, train robberies out west. You think I can't clean up this town?
His spurs make as much noise as tap dancer shoes, but he's no sissy, even though he tips his hat to the ladies and says yes ma'am and no ma'am, like some mealy-mouthed mama's boy. He's rangy, raw-boned, squinty-eyed, but not in a shifty way, if you know what I mean.
It's from riding into all them sunsets.
When he pushes the doors of the saloon open, the place gets all quiet-like, and the bartender starts polishing clean glasses with a dirty towel, and Darton looks into the mirror. The guys playing poker push away from the table in the back, and the chorus girls sneak upstairs so they don't get their feathers blown off in a gunfight or nothing. Utah's faster on the draw than the outlaw, but he don't kill him. He takes him in and waits for the judge to come to town, 'cause that's the way justice works.
No lynching on my watch. We do things legal like. The hanging judge will be here for the next new moon.
When aggressive chemotherapy is not working, Theresa is given a new course of treatment that costs $4,000 for each one. She needs 6 of them, and she does not know how she will be able to pay.
What's it like living out here all by yourself?
You don't know how your body is going to react when you start a new treatment, so being alone is another kind of scary thing. I got pretty sick the other night here by myself. It was right in the middle of the night, but I made it through. Sometimes you just don't know.
So, any dreams?
Oh gosh, my girlfriend was so anxious to find out if I made it through my second night of the new chemo, and I was just totally sound asleep, and I was having this dream. I was in this big complex of shops that sold different art materials and gifts, and unusual clothing and other items, all handmade. And I was just walking through and thinking, how pretty. But I couldn't afford any of it, but I was just enjoying it all. And I was supposed to be meeting some friends, but I couldn't find anybody. And then I couldn't find my truck. I was lost and it was getting dark. And then someone tapped me on the shoulder. I turned around and saw this angel with a great big pink fluffy sweater on, pink chenille. And she crooked her finger at me like, "Come on, follow me." So I went with her up this hill, and there was this big warehouse with stained glass windows. All these people had great big pieces of cloth spread out on the floor, and they were painting. The idea was to take a roller and make your own pictures. So I was just beginning to paint and thinking, this has got some possibilities. And then the phone rang, and it was my friend seeing if I had made it through the night.
So you got what you needed.
Yeah. What I like best is when you think positively. There are people along the way to help you find your way through the confusion. Just like my friends and the pharmacist, I never thought I would get help like this. I never expected it. I was so amazed when the pharmacist's wife called to say her husband had ordered the medicine.
It'll be here tomorrow and you can start taking it.
I just felt like that was a miracle. There are people along the way that say, come this way. There are ways through all of this. You just have to keep believing positively, and really miraculous things can develop. Your way becomes clear.
The reporter is finished with the interviews for her project, and now she reflects on what she has learned from the process.
This end-of-life project is officially over now. The funding has run out, and I have to go on to something new. But I have boxes of files, transcripts from scores of interviews, and these stories, these voices. Some people tell me I should write a book about it. Others say it's all too depressing and wonder what's wrong with me.
Write a comedy, a musical.
What's wrong with something light for a change?
They want to know if I've changed, doing all this death and dying stuff.
And you say,
I finally changed the beneficiary on my life insurance so my first husband won't get a penny. I have a living will, and when I die, note that I said when, not if, I'm going to be cremated and have the ashes scattered off the Brooklyn Bridge. My funeral service is planned, right down to the music, including the whole album of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. I'd tell you more, but I'm out of time. I have to go get Theresa. She's at chemo today, and she needs a way home.
Again, we thank you for being with us today. We hope you enjoyed this excerpt from The Way Home. If you would like more information on the production or the residential hospice house, the Anime Owen facility that we're proposing to build, please feel free to contact us, 270-762-1908, 270-762-1800, or our cell is 270-227-0253. You can also go to the hospital website at www.murray-hospital.org and click on the endowment page. You'll see more about the Hospice House project and easy ways that you can make donations online. A special thanks to our friends here at Murray Electric for all their work in many, many facets dealing with the Hospice House. A thank you to Lisa Cope and our friends at the Playhouse and the Park at Murray, Kentucky for allowing us to use their facilities for this taping. And a final thank you to our cast who gave their time and to invest in the cause of hospice with the hope that the residential hospice house will soon be a reality. Thank you for being with us. We hope you enjoy the production. May God bless you.